Welcome to a mini Smart Firefighting podcast series, recorded live at the Institute of Fire Engineers booth during the 2024 AFAC show, Down Under in Sydney, Australia. Throughout these conversations, we dive into critical issues like fire safety, emerging technologies, diversity in the fire service, and innovative solutions for emergency response. Enjoy these fascinating insights from leaders around the world on how we can build a safer and more resilient future. Serena Allen de Guzman, firefighter at Fire and Rescue New South Wales, shares her journey into the fire service and emphasizes the importance of teamwork and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and drones. She discusses the need for diversity in the fire service and her personal approach to continuous improvement. Serena, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I have had a wonderful experience this entire week. First on Monday, where I was in the panel with Dr. Lori with you talking about all things fire service, data, recruitment, and retention. But then also today, I was with your fellow firefighters, actually responding to some calls.
How was that?
Really awesome and eye-opening. I mean, both calls were automatic alarms that went off. One of them was a broken pipe. The other one was a smoke alarm that was messed up. I learned about the dynamic of two trucks responding, how to use the pre-planning system, kind of just going through how they do reporting, kind of just asking questions and kind of thinking like a kid almost and asking why 100 times. But really, and just being in roll call and experiencing kind of just the dynamic of that brotherhood, sisterhood felt very special.
That's terrific to hear. I'm glad you had a good time.
I did. And so you're a recent new firefighter.
I am fresh off the training academy.
So how did you find your way into the fire service, particularly here in Sydney?
So I have lived in Australia for the better part of a decade, despite what my accent implies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working traditionally in corporate world, and I wasn't really finding a lot of purpose in my life. And I was getting a little bit bored. And I had a really big kind of life reevaluation where a few friends were throwing out ideas for what they wanted to do. And a mate of mine was actually applying to join the Fireys. And I actually started out by helping her prepare for the physical to pass the entrance exams. And in the process of helping her with that, I researched the organization further and realized what a special career trajectory this could be. And so I decided to give it a go myself as well.
So you're like, okay, hair down, don't care. We're going to the fire service.
Yeah, basically, I was tired of a desk and I needed something different and I wanted to make a positive difference in the world. So what better way to do it than in a big red truck?
And what have you learned and what do you love about being a firefighter?
I have learned that being a firefighter is so much more than putting water on burning things. It's a lifestyle and it's a really multifaceted job that's really based around supporting your local community. And that's been really awesome. That's probably also what I love about it is no 2 days are the same. And it's a lot more troubleshooting than I thought. I kind of assumed when I got to the academy that it would be very black and white. Here's a standard operating procedure for how to do everything. It's not that at all. It's a lot of changing tacks and reading situations and adapting on the go. And I think that's actually one of the best parts of the job.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And from this morning when I was at roll call, to seeing that camaraderie, and then kind of also hearing how I had a couple of firefighters. And what was something? Is there any particular call or experience, and then on a call that sticks out the most? And the one firefighter had said, it's not necessarily any of the biggest or the best call or the worst call. It's just that some of those calls where the team works together perfectly and we do everything as well as we possibly could according to our training. That comment kind of struck me in the sense that it was more about not necessarily like the big fire or just like the mundane call, but it's just sticking to the training and the protocol and then trusting your team was what he remembered most. And I found that to be really, really fantastic.
I couldn't agree more. There's nothing more satisfying than when everything comes together. Your team works together. You figure out what the solution is. You realize it's not the best solution. You find another solution. And you come out at the end feeling like you've made positive change or you've achieved a positive outcome. That's the best feeling.
So early in your fire career, what's walking around this AFAC show floor, there's no shortage of cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
What's something that catches your eye of like, wow, that's something that's really intriguing to me as a firefighter. That's something that I could really use, or that's something that could really help the fire service as a whole.
Yeah, I think Dr. Laurie actually mentioned this in her presentation on Monday, but the use of AI and emerging technologies in firefighting, I think, is a super fascinating space. And something that I've noticed a lot of on the floor today are drones. And oddly enough, on Tuesday, I went to a job that was a house fire, and it was still smoldering. We came in for fire duty. It was still smoldering when we got there. And my boss was telling me about the use of drones and using them to identify hot spots within a house. The unfortunate situation in this job was that it was a hoarding house. So you couldn't access a lot of the rooms despite the fact that the whole place had burned through because there was so much stuff still kind of on the premises. It was really hard to navigate. And we were talking about the use of emerging technologies in terms of how that would help navigate that kind of situation. So I think things like that, drones, AI, how we make firefighting safer and more effective into the future is something that's really fascinating. And I'm hoping it's something that as a fresh firefighter, I'm going to see a lot more of over the course of my career.
Yeah. Well said. And to the conversation the other day, we have Dr. Laurie. I remember one comment that came up. I've heard it a few times now, and this relates to kind of just continue to bring an inclusive and diverse fire service. But the idea of if you can't see it, you can't be it. What does that quote mean to you, and why is that so important to make sure we can continue to break barriers and stereotypes to make the fire service the best career that's open and inclusive to everyone?
Yeah, I think when it comes to firefighting, just like with any state or emergency service, to be honest, I think it's really important that we are made up of a team that is just as diverse as the community that we're serving. And I think that's what enables you to handle situations with compassion and with a level of understanding that ensures that whoever you're serving at the end of the day leaves with the best possible experience. And we, as firefighters, show up at the worst possible time, usually on somebody's pretty bad day. And it's really hard to relate to somebody, I think, under certain circumstances. If you don't have that level of awareness or that level of familiarity, I guess, like there's something about being able to genuinely relate. And that's really important, which is a bit of a tangent. And I'm sorry.
A good tangent.
In terms of what it is kind of being that change you want to see, there aren't that many women in this job, but that's changing is the important part. And I did not know many female firefighters before I got into this job. Now that I'm here, I'm meeting them left, right, and center. It's a really beautiful community. I think that if we want to continue to establish a more diverse workforce, we need to do the groundwork of having them in the public eye. And I think coming into this job, even though I didn't know female firefighters, seeing female firefighters on a truck driving by, for me was reassurance that I could do this. And I'm really grateful for that. And I think that we still have a long way to go. We're still a very male-dominated, very kind of Caucasian, very Anglo workforce right now, but that's slowly changing. And it's awesome to see that there's new entry pathways for diversity. And I think that's going to make ultimately better firefighters and a better firefighter service to serve diverse communities.
Yeah, well said. Well, I will say on the truck I went on today, it was 50% female, 50% male. And of course, that's just a continued ratio we need to continue to strive for. And I just appreciate what you're doing to continue to, I don't want to say break stereotypes, but just continue to be a very high valuable producer, contributor to the job, particularly within the fire service. And, it doesn't really matter age, race, gender. It's a matter, who you are, just being able to provide the best possible service to the community at large. And it's really important to make sure that we do have a diverse collection of individuals part of it. So just exciting to see that continue to evolve because yeah, it just continued to drive home why the fire service is the best career and best job in the world.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so we were united kind of through this hut above us, the Institute of Fire Engineers.
Yeah.
And I've been really interested in terms of seeing the IFE's bridge between fire service, fire engineers, and within Australia and around the world. In your words and your thoughts, what is the Institute of Fire Engineers, and why is it an organization that is relevant in the global fire service?
That's a great question. And I'm so glad. I feel like I'm being tested on like whether I did my homework, but it's really good.
No, I was trying to give you a set.
Look, I think that organizations like this are really important because they provide this framework for understanding firefighting in a very different professional context. And I think it's really easy to come into being, I didn't know this was a thing until a couple of weeks ago, to be totally honest. I think it's really easy to come in as a junior firey and to get on a truck and to think, yep, this is my life now. I get on a truck and I do my job and I contribute to my organization. And organizations like this are so important because it makes you realize that you're not just part of an organization, you're part of a whole community, an international community of firefighters. And with that, there are things and opportunities that you can learn from other countries and from related professions. And I think it's really valuable that we extend our knowledge through organizations like this. And I wouldn't necessarily have had an opportunity to have that kind of exposure this early on in my job if we hadn't been connected.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't met kind of the crew that I have over the past week. So it's been really eye-opening to the fact that firefighting isn't a job. It's also a community and it's a profession. And it's a lot bigger than I realized.
Yeah. And like you were kind of alluding to in that statement of just continue to be curious and searching for knowledge and continue to try and learn and get better. And I'm confident that both of us continue to do that in our respective career fields will lead to good things. So kudos to you on that. And I guess final thing that I'm curious in knowing, it's sort of a question I've been asking everyone of within your fire service career or outside of fire service, is there a particular quote or words of wisdom or insight that you live by that you could share with us today?
Oh, that's such a good question. Let me think on that for a quick sec. I think the whole concept of 1% better every day, as cheesy as it is, I came into this job knowing absolutely nothing about firefighting, to be honest. I knew what I had seen on TV and I knew what I had researched, but I knew very little of the actual hard or soft skills of being a firefighter. And I learned something new every day. Some days I get things right and it's awesome. And some days I make very silly rookie mistakes because I'm a rookie. But striving to be that 1% better all the time is making such a big difference in terms of how I feel like I'm developing in my profession. And it's something that I really hope will carry me on to achieve great things within my organization and within my community. Because at the end of the day, I just want to have the best possible impact I can.
The ultimate mic drop, Serena. I love that. And you can only get 1% better if you actually are messing up and you are making those mistakes. So keep making mistakes. That's a good thing.
Thank you.
And I just, really enjoyed your presence and comments alongside Dr. Lori and just learning alongside you in the early stages of your fire career and just confident and excited about what you'll continue to do within the New South Wales Fire and Rescue. And heck, who knows what lateral or vertical moves that means within your future career. So just keep up the good work and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much for your time and for this opportunity.
Of course. Thanks, Serena. Take care. Thanks for listening to this episode recorded alongside the Institute of Fire Engineers during the AFAC show. If you found value in the conversation or learned something new, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out, share your thoughts, and let's keep the discussion going on how we can shape the future of smart firefighting.